So we're talking about lumbar flexion. It is one of the things that we get to work on a lot here because a lot of people don't have a lot of it. And it is one of the reasons we hurt our backs a ton, right? So in the beginning of treating low back pain, very often we talk a lot about extension and being able to extend and really trying to get the low back pain itself to calm down. But what do we do when your back is calmed down? It doesn't hurt anymore. We have to teach you how to flex again. And teaching you how to flex again and adding capacity to it is really, really important. The ways that we do that, this guy here, that's called a reverse hyper. It is one of our favorite starting points. First thing that we want to look at with Andy here when we're demonstrating what we're going to do to try to regain lumbar flexion is actually looking at what it looks like. I'm going to have him on the ground here in front of the machine. Andy's going to go hands and knees. He's going to sit his butt all the way back to his heels, and then he is going to go forehead in between his knees as much as he can and hands back. So this is kind of like a modified child's pose. And what we look for when we need to see if somebody needs to regain flexion, first of all, is how smooth this curvature here actually is. And what you'll see is Andy has a little bit of a hinge point here, and a little bit of a hinge point here, and kind of a flat spot here. We could make an argument about that area too. But what we really want is to make sure we're picking those pieces out exactly. So in your lumbar spine, there are 5 individual segments here, and we want each of them to contribute as equally as possible. They may never be exactly equal, but we want to do our best to make them as equal as we can so they share the load of your spine and we don't have a hinge where Andy is most likely to get injured. So in order to open this thing up, you may or may not have guessed it, we're going to do some pails and rails. We're going to use a couple of these. They're called Franklin balls. And all they are going to do is concentrate the amount of force that we are putting into a spot where Andy needs it. He's going to step on up here and he is going to put these directly on the other side of where we want to work on. So for him, say we want to get into that like L4 really low section, he's going to go right at his belt line. Yep. Lean up over the top of the tabletop here. And then, just like every other time we've ever done pails and rails, he is going to relax his spine as much as he can and try to open this up. On occasion, once we get in here, we'll realize we got to scooch those balls around a little bit and figure out exactly where we want them. But you can still see both of those spots that we just noticed. So right about here is where Andy moves the most. That's not where we want those balls. We want them here. They are going to help him open up that really low lumbar spine stuff, which really gives us the opportunity here to get that piece to flex. And you can see as he relaxes, that actually already looks much better. So just like every other time, we're going to sit here for 2 minutes. We're just going to relax, try to let this open up on its own, really try to use it. This exercise gets a little harder to do on your own because there's nothing to push up into. There are a few ways to get around that. Andy could try to contract these muscles without letting himself move. He still has the entire weight of his lower body to fight against, so he can contract those as hard as he can without his body moving for his pails contraction. Or while I'm here, see, and you can see him start to move a little bit, or while I'm here, I can push on his pelvis, lean into him, and he can push into me harder, which is better, right? We want to do 4 to 8 seconds of him pushing as hard as he can. He's going to relax, and then he's going to physically try to open this space up by bending around those Franklin balls. So he's going to try to bring the feet down, other way, that. Yup, as much as he can. And then, when we're here, we relax and breathe and don't move. Some of the really important things before we ever got into this position and ever did this exercise is we need to teach Andy how to segment, which we've done. We need to make sure that flexion isn't going to ramp his pain up, which we've done. And then we can get in here and he can really try to use that individual piece to do his pails and rails. This is not an easy exercise, but it is massively beneficial once we get in here and start doing those. And then we always want to just check afterwards and see what things are looking like. So with Andy, again, you're going to see this hinge still, but what we really want to see is that this is opened back up a little bit, and even, funny enough, but that to me looks a little bit better. We'd have to see it on the video. You're going to see it on the video, but that for sure is looking better and less hingy right there, which is exactly what we want.